So we are continuing on with our percent conversations. Richard, turn around. Our learning target for today. I can work out tip, tax, markups, and discounts on real world problems. So you're getting into the situation, guys. This is personal finance at its best. This is stuff that you are doing every single day. You go places, you are going to pay sales tax. If you utilize a service, you are going to need to provide a tip. There's quite a few jobs out there that work on commission, meaning that you don't get a full salary because you earn commission off of items that you are going to sell. Okay, so it's not a service worker, but it's something where like you might work at a clothing store, and that's why they, you know, if you ever go try on clothes and they're always like, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Oh, do you need another size? They kind of like bombard you a lot in there. It's because they work off commission. So when you're ready to ring up, they're the ones who go and they follow you along a lot of times, and they want to help ring you up. It's because those kind of stores work on commission. Markups, that's when you are going to purchase an item and then you sell the item at a higher price. So like car dealerships. The car dealership is not making the car. Okay, Target is not making any of the items that they have in their stores, but they sell those items at a marked up price so that they can earn a profit. They are a central location for you to go and purchase the item. Okay, so they're gonna buy, so maybe Target, we'll go back to clothes. Target buys, a shirt, and they buy it for $2, but then they go and sell that same shirt for $20. They're making a significant profit on those, because most of those clothes that you guys wear, it doesn't cost that much to make them because they're mass produced. Okay, so you've got a factory that's literally spitting these things out for pennies, and then they sell it to these stores, and then the store sells it at a very marked up price. Same thing when you go to purchase a car. When you guys get older and you're going to try to haggle the price down, the people are always going to say things like, oh man, I'm not going to make any money off of this. Yes, they are. They make a ton of money off of these things. They'll never sell you an item that they're not making a significant profit off of. They always just say that because they want it to seem like they're giving you a really great deal. Okay, a discount. So the idea of the discount is that you go to purchase something and you might have like a coupon, or the item is on sale at a different price. Okay, so like if you go to Publix, they always have BOGO, buy one, get one for free, or buy one, get one 50% off. These are discount deals. Okay, so let's go back through these kind of items here. Okay, so let's go ahead and first talk about a couple of these key points. I want you guys to highlight the understanding for sales tax and tips real quick in pink. So we're talking about sales tax and in tips. So sales tax, again, this is something that you are paying on top of whatever that you're purchasing. Now there are certain items that do not get taxed. Certain food items that do not get taxed. So if you ever go to the grocery store with your mom or your dad when they go grocery shopping, ask them if you can look at the receipt, because you will see things on the receipt that say it's TF. TF means tax-free. Let me see if I have one actually. These, we spent $236. That is what we spend on a week. Yeah. This is what we spend on a week, but you'll have to also understand is a lot of the stuff that we purchase is going to be things that are, we do purchase a lot of stuff that's produce items and things like that, which can tend to be a little bit more expensive. Too Good yogurts, those are expensive yogurts, but what I want you to focus on is right here. It's hard to see it. Let me zoom in. If you see right next to it, everything that says TF, TF, TF. So these represent tax-free items. Tax-free items are things that you don't pay tax on because they are considered foods of necessity. Okay, now if you go in there and we don't have anything that was Yeah, everything that we purchased today was tax-free. Or not today, that day is tax-free. But if you go in there and you're going to buy something like Takis is not considered to be something of necessity, or candy. It's not something of necessity, and therefore you will be paying tax on those items. If they are items that are pre-made items, meaning you buy something that is like those restaurants that they'll package their items and then sell those items in a grocery store, like Panera will sell their dressings, their salad dressings. Those are going to get taxed because they're not technically items of necessity at a grocery store. They're items that are then being repackaged through the grocery store by whatever the original restaurants were. Those are items that will get taxed. So you've got to think about, so food is the biggest thing that doesn't get taxed. You also have what we call tax-free week, which is usually when you're getting ready to go back to school. A lot of different states will issue a tax-free week on back-to-school items. So anything that's considered to be a school item or a classroom item, and even clothes, because a lot of parents will go and buy new clothes for their kids at the beginning of the year because their kids have outgrown clothes from the previous year. Kids outgrow stuff real quickly. So that is a good week that everybody likes to go and get a bunch of their back to school shopping done because it's tax free. Might not seem like a big deal, be like, oh, tax, it's only a small percentage. It's maybe 5% or 6% or 7%. But if you're doing like clothes shopping for a family of 2 or 3 kids, and they're all having to get a few items or a few outfits, that could be several $100s that you're spending. And then when you think of tax on that, that's quite a bit of money. Okay, so you want to make sure that you understand the idea that tax, if there's ever a situation where you can get something without having to pay tax, it's a good deal. When we're talking about tip is when you are going to places that are providing a service. Who can raise their hand and tell me what is one situation where you know you should tip? Zachary. At a restaurant. It's a common place. But there is a lot of other places that you should be tipping. Anybody know some other places? Leah? Not a customer service at a store. You don't provide tips to stores, actually. Andres? Barbershops. You go get a haircut, you need to tip your hairdresser. If someone's delivering you food. So if you order a pizza or you order Uber Eats or DoorDash, you need to tip your driver. Anything else?
Like a mechanic or something?
Nope, you don't have to tip a mechanic. Trust me, mechanics are getting a lot of money out of you for those items. Okay. Yeah, that's still onto the restaurant. But you go to a nail salon. How many of you like to go get your nails done, girls and boys? You gotta tip your tech, your nail tech. And here's some things that people don't really think quite much of, but it's actually very beneficial for you in the long run as you get older. So I'm going to play out a scenario for you. My parents live in a neighborhood. It's a large neighborhood. And whenever my parents have an unusual item that needs to be thrown away, they never have a problem with the garbage man taking it off. But when their next door neighbors have that exact same item that needs to be thrown away, the garbage people never take it. You want to know why? My parents tip the garbage people every year. Every year, right around the holidays, my parents do a nice tip for their garbage man, and they do a nice tip for their mailman. So they never have concerns with mail. They never have issues with garbage. It's always taken care of because my parents take care of them. They always make sure they go out, have some small conversations with them. When it's a hot day, they provide some drinks for them. When it's close to the holidays, they provide a nice tip for them. These are things that then can make service easier for you. When it comes down to where you need something done that they're technically not supposed to do, a lot of times they'll do it for you anyway because you are taking care of them. Yeah.
How much do they tip them?
Usually, so for the male person, because it's always only one guy that comes through to do the mail, he usually gets about $100 tip for the year.
I'm trying to be there.
And I'm gonna need the address.
No.
I need the address.
No, but these are just things that can help to make life a little bit easier. If you are moving, if you ever move homes and you have hired movers, you should tip the movers. Those are just appropriate things to be able to do. Now, when we are setting these up, I want you to make sure you understand that taxes and tips, they are things that will increase your price. They are going to increase the cost you pay. So write that down. This increases the cost you pay. Now, something else that's really important for you to understand, especially when it comes to tips in the service industry with restaurants. Speaking of somebody who has worked in a restaurant multiple times, you should never, ever, ever not leave a tip. Even when the service is not that great, you should always leave a tip. Because let me ask you a question. Do you have bad days? Yeah. You do have bad days. So do the people who are in a service industry. You have no idea what has gone on that day. Maybe they are coming off of a double shift where they had to work in the morning and now they're having to work at night again. You don't know what's going on, so you don't know what could have caused them a bad day. Also, if the food is bad, is it your server's fault? No. Your server does not make your food. They just take your order. They're not the ones in the back preparing it. So you don't want to sit here and go, oh, the food was horrible, I'm not going to tip. That's a disservice to the person who did their job. Okay? So a rule of thumb, if you have bad service, you should always at least provide, needs to be greater than or equal to 10%. 10%. 10% is not that much if you think about it. If it's a $25 meal, then that's just $2.50 tip. Shh. So Lucas is probably thinking $10. It's not. Again, Lucas, you're not listening. 10%, Lucas, if you go and you purchase a meal, let's say that you went out to dinner with a friend and it was only $25, it would only be a $2.50 tip. That's it for bad service. Now, if the service was good, wasn't the best, wasn't something that you're going, oh my God, I would so recommend people going there and getting this waitress because this waitress was phenomenal or this waiter was amazing. If it's good service, they did their job, they did what they were supposed to, then you're supposed to tip them anywhere between 18% to 20%. That's considered a good rule of thumb. Okay? If it's great service, meaning that you not only enjoyed the food, but the service was so exceptional, they really made you feel taken care of. You never have to ask them for anything. Greater than or equal to 25%. Okay? Now, here's another thing that you also need to keep in mind. Your servers do not get paid minimum wage. So when I was a server back in high school, minimum wage was only $6.75. That was it. That was minimum wage. $6.75 an hour was minimum wage. As a server, when I was a waitress, I did not make $6.75 an hour. I made $2.13 an hour because the expectation is you're supposed to get the majority of your pay through your tips. So keep that in mind when you go to a restaurant, because I don't think you guys realize that. When you go to a restaurant, they are not making minimum wage. They are making just over $2 an hour, they are keeping their tips. Now, I will tell you, there are some companies or some restaurants where if you go and you work there, you can get some phenomenal paychecks there. You work at a really nice steakhouse, like there's a steakhouse called Pompous. We went there and we asked our waiter, you know, roughly how much does he make a night. He says on a slow night, like on a weeknight, he'll usually get out of there about $350 to $400. You can't be a 13-year-old. Pompous. Hold on. But even myself, when I worked at a Steak and Shake, when it first opened up,
It's a long wait.
I made about $75 to $100 a night on a slow night. You can make good money.
Just from saying, like, actually, what's the name of that?
Let's move on. Moving on. All right. Commission. Again, commission. This is not something that gets added on to your cost. You are not paying anything extra to this. When people work on commission, they are making a percentage of the price that they sold. So if I am a car salesman, I sell the car, I don't get that. Okay, when I sell a $30,000 car, it's not like I'm getting $30,000, but what I am getting is maybe 6% of that $30,000. That goes into my paycheck. So not only do I make a salary or an hourly wage, but on top of it, I make a commission. Now, some stores have good commission where it's anywhere between 8 to 10%. Other stores have decent commission, around 6%. Some places, not such great commission, around 2 to 4%. So those are the commission is based off of you get a paycheck, and then the more you sell, it's almost like you're getting bonuses, okay? A markup, like I said before, again, a markup, it's not you having to add a cost onto yourself. You are paying the markup price. What the markup does is it benefits the store that's selling the item. Okay? Now, a discount. This is something that is concerning you. With a discount, when you go into a store and you're purchasing an item and you've got it on sale or you've got a coupon for it, what this does is it decreases the cost you pay. So it concerns you by decreasing the cost that you are actually paying. Now, when we're working out these kinds of problems, the best thing that we can do is resort back to that proportion that we learned yesterday. So the proportion is going to be part over whole equals percent over 100. But instead of saying part over whole, what we're going to identify it is that our part equals the money amount for your tax, your tip, your discount, okay, your commissions, your all those things. But we'll focus on tax, tips, and discounts. The part represents that portion over the whole cost. So notice I'm putting dollar signs, and that's going to represent the percent over 100. So you're still utilizing this proportion that we learned yesterday, the percent proportion. But now we're calculating them based off of real world terms. Now, another thing to keep in mind when you see the words discount. Discount can come in a lot of different vocab forms. It could say that there's a sale. Okay, clearance. You might have a coupon. Big phrases you'll see is like off. Take 40% off of your final price. And those are discounts that are occurring. right, so based off of this information, what I want to do is focus on some practice problems here. So the things that you need to ask yourself, the first thing you need to ask yourself, am I finding the part or am I finding a final cost? You should always ask yourself those questions. Am I finding a part or am I finding a final cost? So in a situation like this, a soccer ball costs $30. Tax is 6%. What is the taxed amount? So when I'm finding that, the question's asking, what is the taxed amount? Am I finding just the tax amount or the final cost? Just the taxed amount. I only want the taxed amount. I just want tax. I do not need to know what my final cost is. I just want tax. If I wanted a final cost, it's going to say things like, what is the total cost? Or how much are you paying at the end? Or how much money do you owe the store? Those are going to be things where it's, what's your final cost? Just finding your tax amount means how much are you paying in taxes? Yeah. That's not called a final cost. That's called a subtotal. So when you look at a receipt, you have a subtotal, then you have a tax, and then you have a total. Subtotal is what you are calculating everything up at first. So you add all your items together first. Then you find the tax based off of that amount, and you add that tax on. Okay? So for here, the part in this situation, that's our X. And again, like I said, the part here is going to represent the money amount for our tax. We don't know the money amount for our tax. We do know what our whole is in this situation. Our whole in this situation is the $30. The whole is going to be $30. We do know our percent in this situation because our percent is 6%. So now we set the situation up. We're just going to do X over 30 equals 6 over 100. From here, we can then do our cross product. So when I multiply, I'm going to do 100 times the X. That gives me 100X. I'm going to do 30 times the 6. That's going to give me 180. And then at the very end, I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 100. And I'm going to get that X is equal to $1.80. That represents my tax. And that's all I wanted to find. I just wanted to find right now, what is the taxed amount? So off to the side, I just want tax. I just want the money amount for my tax. That's all I want. Pardon? Yeah. That would be annoying. Okay. What is the total cost of the soccer ball? Now that's when we go a step further. With total cost of the soccer ball, now we're going to take what the whole price was, and we're going to take what the tax was, and we're going to add them together. So when we talk about the whole price, that's also called our initial cost. So that's what we're going to write this down. We're going to take our initial cost, or our subtotal, which was $30. And we're now going to add it with the money amount for our tax, which happened to be the $1.80. And that's going to equal our total, which is $31.80. Now, Fatima made a good point. She goes, imagine if you had to calculate that every time you went to the store. There are some stores that have had to do this when they have computer problems. Oh, and let me tell you, I've been to a store before where the computer shut down and you could get into the cash register, but all you could do is pay with cash, and the poor cashier had no idea how to give you back change. You laugh now, but there are sad situations where people go, okay, it cost $17.32, and I gave her a 20 or gave him a 20, and they don't know how much money to give back. Okay? So, just be careful. All right. Take a look at problem 3. Take a look at problem 3. A hoverboard costs $280, but Amazon has it on sale for 35% off. I want to know how much is Amazon selling it for. So do I want the discount or do I want the final cost?
The final cost.
The final cost. I want to know how much are they selling it for. So in order to figure out how much they're selling it for, I have to figure out how much I'm taking off of the price. Okay, so hoverboard costs $280. That is considered to be the whole. I first need to find the part which is going to be the discount, the amount of money that the discount is. I need to find the money version of the discount. That's X. I do know my percentage. My percentage is 35% off. Please don't think that that's $35. It's not the same thing. So we'll set up our proportion. We have X over 280 equals 35 over 100, and then we do our cross product. So we've got 100 times the X, which is 100X. We have 280 times the 35, which is 9,800. Then we go ahead and we divide both sides by 100. And we'll get that X. So the discount is going to be $98. So this means it's $98 off of the price. The discount is a portion off. So what do I need to do with that $98, Fatima? Very good. So we're now going to take that $280 that was the original cost, and we're going to subtract the $98 for the discount. And our final cost from Amazon is going to be $182. Okay, I want you guys to flip it on over. I want you to do problems 4 and 5 on your own, please. Real quickly, do 4 and 5 on your own. As you are also working through those, go ahead and get your computers open up and logged in.